Hello friends, my name is Vikas. So friends, in this video we will be discussing some of the most important current affairs of the topic International Affairs of May month. This video will be very helpful to you, so do watch the video till the end, hit the like button and share the link of this video with your friends. So friends, we'll start with our session, but before that we have something important to tell you about. So students, we have an app by the name Careers Cloud which you can go and download using the Play Store, and it is available only for the Android users as of now. Once you have downloaded and opened the app, you will see a page such as the second screen here. Then you just need to log in with your Google ID, or you can say with your Gmail ID on this application, and once you have logged in, you are ready to use the particular application. As you can see, you will be seeing here my course, all courses, crack current affairs. Just click on any of those and you will be directed to a second page. Here now, what are the features or why we recommend you to use the app? Because on the app we provide you daily current affairs both in English as well as in Hindi. Both Hindi and English current affairs are provided you daily along with the quiz sessions. This is important. We provide you daily with the quiz sessions that will help you to brush up your current affairs that you gained today through our video or any other notes provided. These English and Hindi PDFs are also provided to you daily. This is provided on our app course that you can go and purchase. Two types of courses are there, 1 year plan and a second year plan, which you can opt as per your need. Then we provide you with weekly videos. Not just weekly videos on YouTube and monthly videos, daily videos are also given. Apart from that, weekly PDFs of current affairs are provided to you. Compiled PDF of current affairs of the whole week will be provided to you both in English as well as in Hindi. Then similarly for the month also, you will be provided a compiled video of the whole month both in English as well as in Hindi PDF for the current affairs that will brush up your current affairs very much. Apart from this, we provide you with the topic wise current affairs, topics such as apps and web portals, important days, books and authors. Then comes your sports, then comes your obituary, national affairs, international affairs, sports. These all topics are covered by us on our YouTube channel, which you can go and check it out also. Very important this section, because we provide you with the PDFs also with them that helps you to revise through a particular order, and it is very helpful to you, so you should definitely check it out. Then apart from it, we provide you questions regarding your particular exams also, such as bank, related to your banking. We provide you questions, we provide you PDF, we provide you material that will help you to revise those topics, those important topics. So very important. All right, so I definitely recommend you to check our app and do revise and to purchase the courses, because they will be very helpful to you. These, I strongly recommend you to use our app as well as website, and the quiz provided on the app is very helpful to you on the daily basis, and our monthly study material for your exams will do wonders. So do watch the video for the revision purposes. They are very helpful, and if you use my code Vikas10, straight away you will be getting an additional 10% discount on the purchase you made using the application. So additional discount for you students just from my side. It is a happy hour sale, you can say, 10% discount using Vikas10. So friends, let's start with the session now. So let's start friends. First is United States OK's proposed sale of 6 P-81 patrol aircraft to India. Question can be asked that India acquired 6 P-81, that is your patrol aircraft, to India, or they acquired these aircraft from which country? Name of the country will be asked, and it is your United States of America, from which we acquired these 6 P-81 patrol aircrafts. If we look at the data, the United States Department has approved the proposed sale of 6 Poseidon 8I, that is P-8I patrol aircraft and other equipments of India. Let me correct here, this is not P-81, this is P, that is patrol 8I. Alright, P-8I, that is your Poseidon 8I patrol aircrafts. 6 aircrafts acquired from which country? Acquired from United States of America, and this deal costed India around $2.42 billion, that is roughly around 18,000 crore rupees. It is being procured by Indian government for the use by the Indian Navy. These are for Indian Navy. The P-8I patrol aircraft are produced by Boeing, an American aerospace and defense company. In November 2019, the Defense Acquisition Council, chaired by the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, approved the procurement of P-8I aircrafts and other equipments. If we look at some various key points, apart from patrol aircrafts, the US has approved the sale of other equipment such as multifunctional information distribution system, joint tactical radio system, that is MIDS JTRS. Also, a missile warning sensor and other related equipments were also issued by the United States of America. It also includes services such as repair and return, transportation, training, logistic support, and other elements of logistical and program support. Moving on. Next we'll be talking about NATO military exercise that was launched in Albania. It was named as Defender Europe 2021. I repeat, another important exercise, Defender Europe 2021. All right, and it was organized by NATO and location was Albania. I'll mark this also. Locations are also asked nowadays. So where did this Defender Europe 2021 took place? It took place in Albania, organized by NATO. What is NATO? NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO launched the joint multinational military exercise, that is Defender Europe 21, in the port of Durrës in Albania. The exercise began on 26th of April and went till 10th of June. Defender Europe 21 is led by the United States. It is an annual exercise held between US and NATO countries to build readiness and interoperability. Around 28,000 US and NATO forces from 26 different nations participated in this particular drill. It is the first such large-scale drill since World War II in the western region of Balkans. If we are talking about NATO, it is an international alliance of 30 countries from North America and Europe. It is based on North Atlantic Treaty, which was signed on 4th of April 1949. Secretary General is Jens Stoltenberg and the headquarters of NATO is in Brussels, Belgium. Next is Saudi Arabia to join Net Zero Producers Forum on Climate Change. Can be asked, which country recently joined the Net Zero Producers Forum on Climate Change? It was joined by Saudi Arabia. The 5 countries which are responsible for 40% of oil and gas production: Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest crude exporter, Qatar, United States, Canada, and Norway, have launched a cooperative forum on climate called Net Zero Producers Forum. Purpose was this: under this forum, they will discuss about the ways to achieve net zero carbon emissions target to limit global warming and discuss how they can support the implementation of Paris Agreement on climate change. If we are talking about net zero, what is this net zero? That means we want to keep our environment clean and the amount of fossils that we are burning to generate electricity should be reduced, because on burning these fossil fuels we are generating or we are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, or you can say carbon into the atmosphere, that leads to increase in temperature, and that is the main reason of global warming. Carbon neutrality refers to achieving net zero carbon dioxide emissions. In the turn, net zero emission refers to the balance between the amount of greenhouse gases produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. A country will reach net zero when the amount they add is not more than the amount they take away. That means the amount they are releasing, or the amount of carbon they are releasing into the atmosphere, should be less than the amount they are taking out the carbon from the atmosphere and making some other use of it. All right, so this is your Net Zero Producers Forum on Climate Change, and recently Saudi Arabia has joined it. Next we'll be talking about IP protection. US puts India priority watch list. I repeat, what is this IP? IP stands for intellectual property. All right, so according to the special 301 report, India has been put on the priority watch list for IP protection and enforcement along with 8 other countries by the United States of America. The special 301 report was released by United States Trade, or you can say which country releases this special 301 report? Released by USA. Then what is special about this, or what is this about report special 301? The report basically lists the countries that do not provide sufficient intellectual property rights to American companies. According to the report, India has been inconsistent in the progress of IP protection. Though the enforcement of IP has gradually improved, India lags in providing benefits for innovators. The patent issues are of great concern in India. The Indian patent law lacks patent validity and holds narrow potentiality criteria. The other countries that have been put on the list are Argentina, Chile, China, Indonesia, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Ukraine, and Venezuela. These countries have been put on the priority watch list, that is your for IP protection, that is your intellectual property rights to American companies. All right, so which country has been put on the IP watch list by US? It is India, along with many other countries, but you should know regarding India. That what matters. Next, Nepal inaugurated small hydropower plant built with Indian assistance. I repeat, recently Nepal has inaugurated small hydropower plant built with Indian assistance. I want you to name this power plant. What is the name of this power plant? Comment below. I am not telling the name. You have to comment below the name of this power plant. All right, I'll move on to the next information. Next, US has approved $550 million Crimson Solar project in California desert. United States of America has approved a $550 million Crimson Solar project in California desert. It is capable of powering nearly 90,000 homes. It is being developed by Canadian Solar Unit Recurrent Energy and will deliver power to California Unit Southern California Edison. The project will be installed on 2,000 acres of federal land west of Bilth, California, featuring 350 megawatt of solar photovoltaic facility and 350 megavolt of energy storage systems. Next, India is to participate in the third Arctic Science Ministerial Dialogue or Ministerials meeting. Alright, what is the theme basically? Theme is knowledge for a sustainable Arctic of this third Arctic Science Ministerial meeting. The Union Minister for Earth Science, Dr. Harsh Vardhan, virtually represented India in the third Arctic Science Ministerials meeting that was held in Tokyo, Japan. It was jointly organized by Iceland and Japan. Question can be asked, who organized the third Arctic Science Ministerials meet? It was organized by Iceland along with Japan. The theme for this meet was knowledge for a sustainable Arctic. Important. Moving on. ASM, this is your Arctic Science Ministerial Meet, is a global platform for discussing research and cooperation in the Arctic region. It is an event initiated by Arctic Council, a high-level intergovernmental forum. India's vision, a long-term plan for this Arctic region. Dr. Harsh Vardhan shared India's vision and a long-term plan for research, work and cooperation in the Arctic region. India is set to launch NISAR along with NASA. Remember this. Alright. NISAR was a project that was of ISRO along with NASA. Or you can remember it like this. N is for NASA, I is for ISRO, and SAR is your synthetic aperture radar. Alright. That is your NISAR. India is to launch NISAR, that is NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar, in collaboration with the US for conducting the global measurements of the cause and consequences of the land surface changes using advanced radar imaging. India's research activities in the Arctic region are coordinated and conducted by National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, that is in Goa under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. It has a permanent research station in the Arctic, that means here India. India has a permanent research Arctic station in Arctic region and it has been named as Himadri. Alright, and it is in Norway. Next, World's longest pedestrian suspension bridge, 516 Oruqua opens in Portugal. What is the name of the world's longest pedestrian suspension bridge? It is 516 or 516 Oruqua. Alright, and where is this location? Location is in Portugal. Question is basically asked on the location, but the name is also mentioned, so you should know the name also. Name is 516 Oruca, and this is located in Portugal. That is world's longest pedestrian suspension bridge. As you can see in the picture, it is located in Portugal. Portugal opened the pedestrian suspension bridge, named it 516 Oruca in northern Portugal. 506 means 516-meter long bridge is built in the Arouca Geopark, which is suspended at 175 meters above the Paiva River. The bridge was built by the Institute for Research and Technological Development for Construction, Energy, Environment and Sustainability as a tourist attraction for the Arouca region. At present, this is the longest pedestrian suspension bridge in Europe, which surpasses the 494-meter Charles Cone Bridge in Switzerland. Moving on. If we are talking about 516 Oruca, the walkway is made up of 127 interlocking metal cages. The structure of the concrete towers is an inverted A-shape mark the landing points of the bridge and supports two steel suspension cables that support the steel walkway. Moving on. India's renewable growth halved to 5.62 gigawatt in 2020. I repeat, India's renewables growth halved to 5.62 gigawatt in 2020. If we look at the data, according to the new report, Renewable Energy Market Update Outlook for 2021 and 2022 that was released by IEA. IEA is your International Energy Agency. India's renewable energy capacity addition declined by almost 50% to 5.62 gigawatts in 2020 compared to 2019. The decline in the capacity addition in India has been attributed to COVID-19 pandemic. At the global level, the annual renewable capacity additions increased 45% to almost 280 gigawatt, which is the highest year-on-year increase since 1999. China alone accounted for more than 50% of the green energy projects built in 2020. The 280 gigawatt renewable energy capacity addition in 2020 comprised primarily solar about 135 gigawatt, wind 115 gigawatt, hydro 20 gigawatt, and 10 gigawatt of another renewable resources. Alright, moving on. Next, more than 200 endangered species threatened by armed conflict, a report of IUCN. What does IUCN stands for? International Union for Conservation of Nature released a report which stated that more than 200 endangered species are threatened by the armed conflicts going on. Name of the report: Nature in a Globalized World, Conflict and Conservation. Released by IUCN, that is your International Union for Conservation of Nature. A civil unrest and military exercise pose high risk to 219 endangered species assessed as threatened on the IUCN Red List of the threatened species. As you all know, what is Red List? Red List contains the name of the species that are threatened. Notable among them are the critically endangered eastern gorilla and elephant population. The report is the first in IUCN's Nature in a Globalized World report series. It examines the close relation between the environment and armed conflict, warning that human violence and unrest were taking a huge toll on nature. If we look at the key points, the risk created due to civil unrest, war, are direct killing, killed for target practice, and sometimes for food also. So due to which the various around 200 species, or you can say exact 219 endangered species are at threatened, or you can say are at extinct. Endangered species are threatened by basically various armed conflicts or your wars or revolutions going on, due to which the people practice on them, eat them, kill them for food, or hunt them basically for practice of the shooting and many other reasons. Alright, so more than 200 endangered species are threatened by armed conflict, or slash you can write here war. Next, China's population growth slows to lowest rate in decades. I repeat, China's population growth has slowed to the lowest rate in decades. Let's look at the data. According to the seventh census conducted by the China's National Bureau of Statistics, China's annual population growth stood at 0.53% in the last decade, the lowest since 1953. China's population stood at 1.41 billion in 2020. The report also states that 12 million babies were born in 2020, that is the lowest number since 1961, with the number of births falling for the fourth consecutive year in China. The main cause of slowing growth rate has been attributed to China's one child policy. China's population is expected to reach its peak in 2025. India to emerge as the world's most populous country by 2023 or by 2024. According to the Chinese demographers, India may overtake China as the most populous country by 2023 or 2024, much sooner than the reports of the United Nations that projected that India will become the most populous by 2027. Based on 2019 estimates, India had an estimated population of 1.37 billion people. If we talk about China's National Bureau of Statistics, headquarters is in Beijing and the commissioner is Ning Zhize. Alright, moving on. World Food Price Index increased in April, highest since May 2014 as per the report by FAO. Who releases the report or who releases this World Food Price Index? It is released by FAO, that is your Food and Agriculture Organization. The Food and Agriculture Organization food index price was averaged 120.9 points in April 2021, which is 2 points higher than the food price index, that is your FAO's food price index in March 2021, and 28.4 points higher than April 2020. This marks the 11th consecutive month rise in the FPPI value to its high since May 2014. The April rise of FFPI was led by the increase in the price of sugar, followed by oils, meats, dairy, and cereals. Alright, moving on. What does it say? One Health. One Health, a panel to advise on animal disease risks. I repeat, One Health is a panel to advise on the animal disease risk. A body of which organization? United Nations. So One Health was released or started by a program started by which organization? By United Nations, and it is a panel to advise on the animal disease risk. If we look at the data, first of all you should know what are zoonotic disease. They are known as zoonoses also, are infectious disease that transmit from animals to humans. The zoonotic carriers may be viral, bacterial, or parasitic, spreading through direct contact or food, air, or water. Alright, that means the disease that transfers, the zoonotic carriers that transfer from disease from animals to humans are known as zoonotic disease. So we know this now. Then United Nations body, the World Health Organization, the United Nations Environment Program, the World Organization for Animal Health, and the Food and Agriculture Organization formed a team of expert under One Health high level expert panel to help develop a global plan for action to prevent the spread of disease from animals to humans. WHO stated animals wildlife as the originating source of 3/4 of all emerging infectious disease in the world. Background: the One Health High Level Expert Panel initiative was launched by the Germany and the France in 2020 in the backdrop of the outbreak of COVID-19. The first meeting of the panel was held in May 2021. The panel will publish its first recommendations later in 2021. If we look at the purpose of this team was, that is the One Health High Level Expert Panel, The One Health team of experts put together by WHO, UNEP, OIE, and FAO will advise them on developing risk assessment and surveillance frameworks and establish good practices to prepare for the zoonotic outbreaks like disease like Zika, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, Ebola, COVID-19, and much more. The panel will also consider potential transmission risk in food production and distribution, urbanization, and the construction of infrastructure, international travel, and trade and activities that lead to the biodiversity loss and climate change. Alright, moving on. Global average temperature could pass 1.5 degrees Celsius within the next 5 years. I repeat, global average temperature could pass 1.5 degrees Celsius within the next 5 years. According to the Global Annual to Decadal Climate Update provided by the United Kingdom Met Office and World Meteorological Organization, there is a 40% possibility of annual global temperature temporarily reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius, that is 2.7 degree Fahrenheit above the pre-industrial level in one of the next 5 years. Average temperatures are likely to be at least 1 degree Celsius, estimated to be between 0.9 degrees Celsius and 1.8 degree Celsius warmer in each of the coming 5 years. At least 1 year between 2021 to 2029 will be the warmest year on record, replacing 2016. The temperature rise is significant because as per the Paris Agreement signed in 2015, global leaders has committed to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius and well below 2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Warmest years on record. 2020 was one of the three warmest years on record. First was 2016, second was 2020, and third was your 2019. The temperatures in 2020 was 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial times. What are the various impact of global temperature rise? The temperature rise highlights the importance of cutting greenhouse emissions and achieving carbon neutrality. Global warming is resulting in phenomena like rising sea levels, melting sea ice, and extreme weather events. Increasing temperatures will have a great impact on food security, health, environment, and sustainable development. They will also bring more tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Ocean and rain in high latitudes and Sahel region of Central Africa. Next. Next is WHO and Switzerland launched Global Biohub for pathogen storage, sharing and analysis. Let's look at it. World Health question can be asked from this, that which two organization or which organization released the Global Biohub? It was launched by WHO and along with which country? Along with Switzerland. So WHO, World Health Organization, and Switzerland country signed an MOU to launch the first WHO Biohub facility as a part of World Health Organization Biohub system during the 74th World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. This facility will allow the rapid sharing of viruses and other pathogens between laboratories and global partners. It will set up in Switzerland. Under the agreement, Space Biocontainment Laboratory will be made available to WHO and the lab will act as a repository for SARS-CoV-2 viruses or other pathogens with epidemic or pandemic potential. The timely sharing of pathogens will allow the global scientific community to assess the risk and develop countermeasures such as diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines rapidly. At present, pathogen sharing is done bilaterally between countries and on a temporary basis. This process is often slow and leaves many countries without access to benefits and tools. What will be the role of this facility? The facility will serve as a center for safe recipient sequencing, storage, preparation, biological material for distribution to other labs in order to inform risk assessment and sustainable global preparedness against the pathogens. In the pilot stage, the hub will also act as an internal exchange for severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, that is SARS-CoV-2, and other emerging viruses. At the later stage, WHO will broaden the biohub system for use of biological materials by qualified entities such as manufacturers for the development of medical products for fair allocation to countries. After results from the pilot project, the BioHub will expand from SARS-CoV-2 and its variants to the other pathogens and connect partners with other repositories and laboratory networks in 2022. Then, who is the Director General of WHO? Tedros Ghebreyesus. And where is the headquarters? It is in Geneva, Switzerland only. Next is your India has launched a mobile tech platform for UN peacekeepers. Their name is Unite Aware. Let's look at it. India will launch a Unite Aware, that is a mobile tech platform for United Nations peacekeepers to improve their safety and security in the line of duty. It will be launched during India's United Nations Security Council presidency in August 2021. Presidency of the United Nations Security Council is held by each of the members in turn for 1 month. Unite Aware will increase the situational awareness of the peacekeepers by providing terrain related information. India has spent over 1.64 million for the project and is developing it in partnering with the United Department of Peacekeeping Operations and Department of Operational Support. The information about the platform will be shared by India's Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN, Ambassador K. Nagaraj Naidu, during his virtual address to the United Nations Security Council Open Debate on the Peacekeeping Operations, Improving Safety and Security Operations. If we are talking about UN Peacekeeping Force, the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission began in 1948. It is a role held by the United Nations Department of Peacekeeping Operations. The peacekeeping force are deployed to maintain re-establish peace in an area of armed conflict. There are about 88,000 personnel serving in 12 peacekeeping operations around the world as of March 2021. Due to the deployment in conflict zone, they face various kinds of malicious attacks, including use of improvised explosive devices. Alright, next we'll be talking about Global Health Summit that took place in Rome. IMF has proposed a $50 billion plan to vaccinate everyone by mid-2022. The International Monetary Fund, where is the headquarters of International Monetary Fund? It is in Washington DC. Then they has put for a 50 billion US dollar plan to end COVID-19 pandemic. It has a set target of vaccinating at least 40% of the world population by the end of 2021 and remaining 60% by the first half of 2021. The proposal was drafted by the IMF chief economist Geeta Gopinath and staff economist Ruchir Agrawal. It states that vaccinating the entire global population would inject the equivalent of USD 9 trillion into the global economy by 2025. If we look at the proposal plan to add COVID-19, the 50 billion proposal has three broad elements: vaccinating, ensuring against downside risk, managing the interim period. Alright. Out of 50 billion US dollar, at least 35 billion will be paid for the grants from rich countries, private and multilateral donors, and the remaining 50 billion will be funded by the national government using concessional financing available from multilateral development banks. The proposal states that the advanced economics, which have been asked to contribute the largest to the 50 billion proposal, will be benefited the most out of it. They will see the highest return on public investment in modern history, capturing 40% of the global GDP gains and roughly 1 trillion US dollar in additional tax revenues. So friends, this was our video. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you liked our video, do hit the like button, share the link with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel or if you are new to our channel, then do subscribe because it motivates us to bring a better content for you guys. Also, if you have any trouble regarding login or payment or any other issues, then you can reach to us on our mail, that is support@affairscloud.com, or you can call us on the number 9677333862 and we'll resolve your issue as soon as possible. Also, you should go and check our courses that are available at a very reasonable price and that will help you to boost your preparation.